Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 89 of WellsMania podcast. We are live. We are live on TikTok. And for the record, this is live and I cannot express that enough. I, the host of WellsMania podcast, the Kyle Wells, I can control what I say. However, the world's greatest co-host, Peyton Payne, I cannot control what he says. I just want to state that for the record right off the bat because you never know what the world's greatest co-host, Peyton Payne, is going to say. As a matter of fact, he's not even here yet at the Smash Mouth Arena. I am recording inside the Smash Mouth Arena. Do yourselves a favor. Go to YouTube, type in Wrestle With This, hit that subscribe button because there's a big, mega, massive show, Showcase 50, and it's going to be hitting on YouTube, Wrestle With This, April 23rd. And next week, Peyton and I, we will dive more into that. The card as we know it is being filled. The show will live up to the hype as it always does. Wrestle With This on YouTube. Now, I am going to let this build up. I'm going to allow people to get in here. Once again, this is WellsMania Podcast, episode 89, TikTok Live, and I am your host, the Kyle Wells, aka WellsMania. Now, this right here, this is a KC Custom Apparel, one of a kind. I'll get to RVD here in a little bit. KC Custom Apparel, located right here in Greenwood, Indiana. They came through in the clutch. I needed my own merch because, believe it or not, I did not have any of my own shirts. I was waiting for my merch guy, Ryan Gant, to send them to me, but he's been so busy that I had to go out and get my own because let's face it, at the end of the day, we can only rely on number one. So number one went out to KC Custom Apparel, and a couple days before the Squared Circle Expo 3, which was this past Friday, April 7th, and this past Saturday, April 8th, they came through in the clutch. They printed this on, and I got it in 2 days. And I wore it Friday and Saturday, and nobody said I stunk. Nobody said I smelled. Some lady actually said I smelled really good, so that was a nice compliment. I didn't get her name, but if she's watching, hey, thank you, lady at the door at Squared Circle Expo 3. I appreciate you for saying that I smell good. So KC Custom Apparel, I'm giving them a shout out. Be sure to check them out on Facebook. KC Custom Apparel. They are located in Greenwood, Indiana, and I got the address right here. That is 872 North State Road, 135, Greenwood, Indiana. KC Custom Apparel. And tell them WellsMania sent you. Now, since we're rolling through sponsors, and I'm still waiting for the world's greatest co-host, Peyton Payne, to arrive, how about we give my boy, the Axeman, Chris Engel, the rub, Johnson County Axe Throwing. Yes, Johnson County Axe Throwing is a proud sponsor of WellsMania Podcast. Johnson County Axe Throwing. I'm just going to read right off of this flyer. So, where we teach you to, hashtag throw like a pro. Let us host your event, parties, team building, corporate outings, church activity, date night, and bachelorette parties. Call now or visit online. Call now at 317-809-7401 and check out Johnson County Axe Throwing on Facebook and tell them WellsMania sent you. Chris Engel, who I believe will probably be joining this episode very soon. So, Chris, I gave Johnson County Axe Throwing the rub. And by the way, earlier today, you can now rent Johnson County Axe Throwing to come to you. That's right, mobile. I love it. It's pretty cool. I love throwing me some axes Did I say that right? Axes? Anyways, Johnson County Axe Throwing, Whiteland, Indiana. Tell them WellsMania sent you. Yeah, we are live, baby. Dion Freeman, who is my brother from another mother, Dion Freeman, and I ran wild this past weekend at Squared Circle Expo 3, and that's pretty much what we're going to talk about. Uh-oh. He's here. He has arrived.
You see, when you're me, you get to just carry cool props around.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall. It is for the host of the WellsMania podcast.
Whenever you get annoying, I'm just going to hit that.
Oh, man, you better have that in your back pocket. Ladies and gentlemen, the world's greatest co-host, Peyton Payne. You have finally arrived.
I have.
I didn't think you were going to show up.
I considered not coming since you deleted the last episode.
For the last time. 2 last times. I am not John Silver, Taylor Jackson, who just said that in the group chat. And I did not delete the last episode of WellsMania podcast. It literally is lost.
You deleted that like WWE deleted the career of Chris Benoit.
Listen to this. YouTube Live would not allow me to save the live episode. Therefore, it is a lost episode. I did not delete it. And that is why we are back right here on TikTok Live.
You want Pete?
No, peeps are disgusting. I hope you got those for half off. Because I would not pay full price.
I was trying to find the Peeps Pepsi that we could try on the episode, but apparently nobody sells it.
That's disgusting.
If anybody out there knows where I can find the Peeps Pepsi to do a taste test, put it in the comment section.
Please save us all. We do not want to taste test Pepsi Peeps.
We do. They want to see us taste test it.
Speaking of Peeps, this past weekend at the Wyndham Indianapolis Hotel, Squared Circle Expo 3, Christian was at the Squared Circle Expo. However,
he wasn't happy to be there.
He was not happy to be there, and I did not meet him. So, talking about peeps.
From what I heard, you dodged a bullet.
Listen, there were 2 people that got negative reviews all weekend long. One of them was MJF, and you had to know.
See, taste test on a podcast. It could work.
You had to know MJF was going to get bad reviews because the dude lives in his gimmick. He's one of the biggest heels in professional wrestling.
You're going to have to read the names because I'm blind.
And the other person was Christian. Those were 2 complaints that I received from all the Wells Maniacs and Squared Circle Expo
Who was the
goers.
first? I didn't hear the first one.
MJF.
Well, yeah, he was chucking.
MJF and Christian were 2, I guess, did not want to be there. Now, we're going to keep getting close so you can see my blue eyes.
I can't see even when I am close.
Well, there might be green. They interchange. Some days they're blue, some days they're green. Anyways, Chris Haggerty. Chris Haggerty is in the group chat. Taste test on a podcast. It could work. Pepe is blind.
I am blind.
He is blind.
I will admit that.
That's why he wears the glasses so he can see. That wrestling couple. They say that Walmart has the Pepsi Peeps. By the way, shout out to Jacob and Shelby, a.k.a. That Wrestling Couple. Do yourself a favor. Follow them on TikTok. I had the opportunity to interview Jacob and Shelby at Squared Circle Expo 3, and y'all are great. I love you both. Your passion, your love for pro wrestling, it's contagious. We all ran wild together. If you'd like to watch that interview and all of the interviews that I did, because Peyton, I did a lot of interviews with wrestlers, legends, Hall of Famers, fans, WWT superstars. I mean, I was running wild. When I say running wild, I was running wild at Squared Circle Expo 3. And if you want to check out the amazing interview from that wrestling couple, Jacob and Shelby, go to @WellsMania on Twitter. Or if you look back at the TikToks, it's running wild here on TikTok. So Jacob, Shelby, y'all are great. I love you both. I cannot wait to see what TikToks you continue to post on that wrestling couple.
Best one.
Hit that follow button.
Tony Atlas.
Oh my God. So sometimes things...
You got schooled by Tony Atlas.
Sometimes things are just spontaneous. Sometimes things just fall into place. And timing is everything. So there I was, standing at the WellsMania podcast table at Squared Circle Expo 3. And I've got the Smash Mouth Wrestle With This banner behind me. And of course, the WellsMania podcast banner was at the front of my table, so you knew who I was. I'm standing there, and all of a sudden, WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA, Legends House legend, Tony Atlas, comes up to me, and I thought that I was going to interview him. I couldn't even get past me introducing him. He cuts me off. He does his own promo, hyping himself up, flexes his biceps, and then just walks off.
My kind of guy.
It was awesome. Listen, I was totally down for that. I did have some questions that I was going to ask him. I was going to ask him about Legends House, and I was going to ask him just about his career in general when he and The Rock's dad, which is Rocky Johnson, I was blanking there for a second, winning the tag team titles, the first African-American tag team to win the tag team titles in WWE history. I had all these really just, fascinating questions that I was going to ask him, but he just wanted to cut a promo and then be on the go-go, which is fine with me. When Tony Atlas comes around, you do what Tony Atlas wants to do. Chris Haggerty says, WellsMania legit ran wild at Squared Circle Expo 3, showed legit hustle.
Tell him the Sergeant Slaughter story.
All right, listen, we'll get to that in just a second. I'm going to allow Peyton to promote Wrestle With This's appearance at Squared Circle Expo 3. I'm going to pull up your comments over here on the WellsMania podcast laptop. Hopefully, we'll be able to see them a lot better on a bigger screen. So, ladies and gentlemen, the world's greatest co-host, Peyton Payne.
So, if you guys weren't at the Expo, WWT completely took over. I don't know about you, but I personally think that our setup was the best looking setup in the entire place. I mean, it's kind of hard to deny it. We had the drapes, we had the posters, we had the exclusive merchandise. These shirts were exclusive to the Squared Circle Expo. They've got the banner, as you can see on the front. It's got everybody on there. You can't see it on the back of the shirt, but it had Squared Circle Expo on the back of the shirt. So those, if you want one, we still have some available. You can reach out to me or Wells, preferably me, because who wants to message him, and get one. Maybe we'll even do a giveaway. What do you think?
I'm always down for a giveaway.
Yeah, we'll think of something to give away. Hold on, I got to grab another peep because why not?
Peeps are disgusting. What are you doing?
Look at that. Mike James would approve of peeps. Don't you think?
Maybe.
No, Squared Circle Expo. It was awesome. Oh God, this is the perfect thing. Look what I got. You'll dig this. I got a custom rock, okay, that was painted to look like one of the greatest characters of all time, Akeem the African Dream.
That's pretty cool.
How awesome is that?
Where'd you get that at the Squared Circle Expo?
Some little booth there in the main room. Some guy was painting rocks, and who's gonna pass up on an Akeem figure? I mean, what are the odds of ever seeing anything that's Akeem the African Dream?
That is pretty cool.
So
yeah,
he's going on my shelf.
There was a lot of cool vendors there selling action figures, 8x10s, all sorts of wrestling memorabilia and merch. The Squared Circle Expo, it had pretty much everything that a wrestling fan could ever want or need. Is that a pet rock of Conrad Thompson?
I just said it's Akeem the African Dream.
Get really close to the camera there.
Akeem. He might be the third co-host from now on.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson.
What was the Akeem thing? He did like that with his hands.
He did a lot of dancing when
Yeah.
he was Akeem, the African Dream.
Underrated.
Yes, very underrated, and AKA One Man Gang for those who knew him as One Man Gang. So Sergeant Slaughter, this is a very unique and...
Why don't you tell them who initiated it?
It's a very unique and funny story. Well, it was initiated by me a long time ago because when I got into the professional wrestling world, not as just a podcast host, but also as a professional wrestler, or for some of the haters out there, a sports entertainer. Some people think I'm a pro wrestler. Some people think I'm a sports entertainer. It just depends on you and what your preference is. Well, anyways, when I decided to finally step foot inside this squared circle behind me, I was trying to come up with ideas for a character, okay? And for those who know me...
You're embarrassed to even say it.
You know who I am when I'm not WellsMania podcast. I'm going to go ahead and do something that I've never done before. And you're the first people to... You know what? I'm going to protect kayfabe. I'm not going to do it. But you know who I am when I'm not WellsMania podcast.
You're the Kyle Wells.
I almost just admitted something that I've never done before in the past 5 years. Almost broke it live. People would have been like, wait, what? You're the same guy? Anyways, so going back to my Sergeant Slaughter story. So I'm sitting there and I'm doodling in my notebook, throwing out all sorts of creative ideas that are running wild off the top of the Hoosier Dome, right? And I'm trying to think of a character that I think would be really cool to portray in WWT. So then I started thinking, okay, maybe I could do like a pretty boy meets a ruthless aggression, militant style hybrid. So then I started thinking, well, what if I was the love child of Sergeant Slaughter and Sensational Sherry, and I called myself, so funny, stupid at the same time, Sensational Slaughter.
It's more embarrassing.
So that was going to be my gimmick. Sensational Slaughter, the love child of Sensational Sherry and Sergeant Slaughter. So there's the background story. This was about 5-6 years ago. That was the very first creative idea that I came up with when I got asked to wrestle here at WWT.
For the record, I immediately shot that down because it was just terrible.
And I'm really glad that idea got shot down because, well, I went on to become somebody else who's pretty successful in his own regard. That's neither here nor there. You know who I'm talking about. Anyways, Peyton, at the Squared Circle Expo 3, Peyton says, hey, I just went up to Sergeant Slaughter. I just told him about Sensational Slaughter. He laughed. He thought it was funny. And I told him that the guy who was going to be Sensational Slaughter is going to come over here and talk to you.
You didn't believe me
and tell you
either.
the story. I didn't believe you because, one...
Dion knows he was with me.
One, you like to rib me.
Yes.
So I take what you say with a grain of salt. Peyton was telling the truth. And
he was denying it so much that I said, you know what, come with me, and if you prove me right and I didn't say it and Slaughter doesn't know who I am, I will give you $100 cash on the spot.
As soon as you said $100, I got up so fast and I literally ran to Sergeant Slaughter's table. I went up to him, I approached him, and I said, Mr. Slaughter, so good to see you. We shook hands. Please tell me that he didn't tell you about Sensational Slaughter.
I did.
Sergeant Slaughter starts laughing, and he goes, yeah, he told me about that. What's the story behind that? And I told him what I just told you all. I said that I was going to be Sensational Slaughter, the love child of you and Sensational Sherry.
I think he was slightly scared.
He started laughing, and the Headbangers... Their table was right next to Sergeant Slaughter. one of the headbangers, I can't remember which one it was,
Mosh.
but he goes, wait, so you're telling me that you were going to be the love child of Sherry and Sarge? And they all started laughing. Either they were laughing at me or they were laughing with me. Either way, they were laughing. But here's the coolest part. Sergeant Slaughter plays along with it, and he says, well, looks like we're going to have to get you a DNA test. You never know. Anything could happen. So I like to think that Sergeant Slaughter approves of the crazy fantasy idea of sensational slaughter that never took off the pages of my notebook.
Will we ever see that character brought to life?
I don't know. To be continued. What do you guys think about the sensational slaughter story? Chris Haggerty says it's meant. Dion Freeman says this was true and Slaughter actually enjoyed it. He approved it. I'm telling you, Sergeant Slaughter loved my idea of me being the love child of him and sensational Sherry.
At least he was loving it at the
R.I.P.
table. When we walked away, he might have been thinking, how do I file a restraining order?
No, because he then retweeted it. I tweeted a shout out on Twitter, Sergeant Slaughter, from his verified official Twitter account. He follows WellsMania podcast on the Twitter, which if the Sarge follows me, what's your excuse for not following me? I'm just saying. Just throwing that out there. We've got quite a few people in here. Hey, by the way, hit that lightning bolt. I honestly do not know what that lightning bolt is, but apparently we're supposed to get 7 lightning bolts. I have no idea. This is only the second time that we've ever done TikTok Live, and I think we're having a pretty good showing so far.
Because the YouTube route sucked.
Yeah, YouTube is not the way to go. If you did watch that YouTube Live, episode 88, thank you. However, the episode, seriously, I'm being serious when I say this, it's a lost episode. I couldn't find it even if I wanted to find it.
Because you deleted it.
Chris Engel, it's the truth. That's the truth. So if you're new here and you're just joining randomly, if you're like FYP on TikTok, who the hell are these guys? I'm WellsMania Podcast. It's written on my chest and it's behind me on a banner and it's all over social media. Follow anywhere. Literally, I'm everywhere. You type in WellsMania, this John Silver looking face is going to pop up.
You are not John Silver.
And of course, you can follow the world's greatest co-host, Peyton Payne, at Stone Payne, PROD. You were over 300 followers, but now you're under 300 followers. So by the end of this episode,
I didn't want those other 10.
Let's get Peyton back over 300 followers on
If you follow
Twitter.
me and unfollow me, then, I mean, the only thing I can really say to you is there.
So, Squared Circle Expo 3, it was this past Friday and Saturday at the Wyndham Indianapolis West. And I'm telling you, there were so many wrestlers there. There were so many wrestling fans there. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all for taking the time to stop by the WellsMania podcast table and just shooting with me, cutting promos with me, doing interviews with me. I signed so many autographs.
Didn't sell a single one.
Well, actually, that's not true. Somebody gave me $10 for my autograph, and that somebody is wicked DJ Fat Mac, the best DJ. Look him up, DJ Fat Mac on the Instagram. Thank you so much, DJ Fat Mac,
I feel bad for him.
paying for my autograph, which, listen, you know you've made it when people are paying for your autographs. I'm going to show you.
You made it somewhere.
I made it to TikTok Live. I'm going to show you the 4x6s with my logo on it. And if for some reason you are interested in wanting one, hit me up on Twitter at WellsMania. Hit me up in my DMs and we can work something out. And I'll send you an autographed WellsMania autograph. Let me show you real quick what those look like. Hey, take it away.
You're really going to waste people's time by showing you what your autograph looks like?
No. I'm showing them right here. WellsMania Podcast. I'll sign it I'll customize it. I'll ship it and send it your way. Or if you're local and you want to meet me in person, we can meet up in person. Follow me on Twitter at WellsMania. I will autograph this for you.
I'll tell you what, I'll help you out. For an extra $5, I'll sign it. That's what people really want.
I am taking donations. I say donations. If you would like to send WellsMania podcast donations, I will gladly accept.
I got an idea. The first person to waste their money and buy that autograph will get the giveaway of the Wrestle With This t-shirt. How about that?
Hey, open that bad boy up. Show him the shirt.
Now, why don't you put it on, even though I've never seen you actually wear a t-shirt with sleeves?
Check this out. This is an exclusive Squared Circle Expo 3 Wrestle With This t-shirt. And you only could get them at the Expo, but unfortunately, a lot of people were unable to make it. So we're extending that exclusive limited time Squared Circle Expo 3.
It's got everybody on it.
Wrestle With This t-shirt. Yes, your favorite WWT superstars are on this shirt. So if you would like one, follow at Smashmouth WWT on Twitter. And we are 901 likes on this video.
Dion has a good
That
idea.
That is really cool. Thank you so much.
Dion says you should write individual personal messages on the back of the cards.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. I am one with the people. I am the People's Podcast, the People's Wrestling Podcast, if you smell what I'm cooking. So yeah, I'll do that. Not only will I sign it, but I'll also put a fun little message on the podcast. Now, there were a lot of wrestlers at the Expo. Who were you most excited to meet, and who were you most excited to see?
Other than running the booth, which is the main reason I was there, really wanted to get two people in particular. I got one. I didn't get the other because he only showed up for like an hour and then left. The main guy that I was going for was Big Sexy, Big Daddy Cool, Diesel, Kevin Nash, who I did meet, and he was awesome. I loved spending a little bit of time with him. Very nice guy. A little shy. He didn't do a lot of talking, but you know, he was very very cool when you actually got to sit down with him and he chatted for a little bit. The other guy I wanted to meet was Kurt Angle, who kind of disappointed me. Kurt Angle was supposed to be there, I believe, both days. And then he showed up for like an hour on day 2 towards the end of the day.
Lightning bolt! Chris Haggerty with a lightning bolt!
And then left.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, Angle bolted out of there.
Oh, Chris Haggerty is hitting us up with all the lightning bolts. TikTok Live's making all sorts of cool noises.
Does that really count, though? It's from the same guy.
Yeah. I think we're back. I think we are live from the Smashmouth Arena.
Damn it, Kyle. Why'd you hit the stop button again?
Chris Haggerty, you literally electrified the WellsMania podcast that we short-circuited and my phone overheated. We're back, though. I think we're back. For once, it wasn't my fault. My phone literally overheated.
No, I think you hit something.
And I think we are back live. We're live, pal.
You hit the delete button again, didn't you?
No. Chris Haggerty with your lightning bolts.
God, we were at almost 2K likes.
We still are, baby. 1.9 thousand likes. We're back. We are live. We are rolling.
All right.
This is episode 89 of WellsMania Podcast.
I don't trust the lightning bolts now.
I am your host, the Kyle Wells, a.k.a. WellsMania. This is the world's greatest co-host, Peyton Payne. And thank you for everyone who was live, running wild with us here on TikTok. Like I said, we're doing something pretty new here at the WellsMania Podcast. We're doing live videos because we want to interact with you, the Wells Maniacs and wrestling fans from all across the world. Thank you for running wild and tuning in to Wells Mania Podcast.
Let me move on this side. The light is like reflecting off my glasses and blinding people.
Yes. WellsMania running wild. TikTok can't handle. You're damn right, Chris Haggerty.
I think it was Akeem. I think he
Too
crashed.
electrifying for TikTok. If you smell what WellsMania is cooking. So I have no idea.
Where were we? What were we talking about?
Where we were talking about Squared Circle Expo 3 because you and I
was talking about Kevin Nash.
We ran wild. Yes, I asked you what wrestlers you looked forward to meeting, and you said Big Sexy
Big Daddy Cool
Kevin Nash.
He was awesome. He chatted with me for a little bit. Unfortunately, as a lot of people know, he just lost his son not too long ago, so he wasn't in the most talkative of moods. You could tell that he was a little down, which, I mean, only makes sense for somebody that's going through that. But
no parent should ever lose their kid.
Absolutely not. But to be like him and have the strength to come out and still make it to the Expo is awesome.
Chris Haggerty, thank you for the lightning bolts. You got us at 6 out of 7. There it is. We achieved our goal. 7 lightning bolts out of 7. I have no idea what that means. Last time you hit the lightning bolt, it electrified the pod. My phone literally said it was overheating. And
you know what?
Well, I think it's cooled down, and now we're back.
You know, the other guy I wanted to meet was Kurt Angle, but like I said before it crashed, he showed up for like an hour on the second day and then left. But you know what the funniest part of the entire weekend was?
What's that?
Was the fact that
people kept saying that I looked like John Silver.
No, the only person saying that was you.
It was not. Everybody kept coming up to me and saying it.
It's
true.
Buff Bagwell.
Oh, Buff.
It caught me off guard. Buff Bagwell, I walked past the Kurt Angle line. Buff was waiting in line to meet Kurt Angle. It was the funniest thing I possibly have ever seen.
There we go. I fixed the lighting.
Buff Bagwell was waiting in line. This dude could have just walked past the line. He's Buff Bagwell, but he's sitting there and he's doing all this stuff, and he's waiting to get up to Kurt Angle like some normal schmo. And I almost couldn't contain my laughter. It was hysterical.
I'll tell you what, though. Buff Bagwell took the time to run wild with WellsMania. And yes, I interviewed Buff Bagwell, and in case you missed that interview, you can watch it at WellsMania on TikTok. I put a little teaser on here, but if you want the full interview, at WellsMania on Twitter, or go to my YouTube page, at WellsMania. I asked Buff about being buff, and he said I'm buff, and well, quite frankly, I mean, look at these guns. Come on now. I'm buff, and I've got the stuff because...
What is the stuff?
Buff Bagwell and we both did the Too Sweet.
I've been thinking about what is...
Unlike you, who no-sold me in one of the promos.
I was doing it with...
I asked you to do the Too Sweet, and you didn't, and you walked off.
Look. You got to look at it from... Once you Too Sweet Kevin Nash... You can never top it, so like doing it with anybody else would just be an insult.
You gotta Too Sweet anybody who's NWO, because when you're NWO,
you're not NWO.
You're NWO for life, for life. Listen,
what is the stuff that Buff Bagwell has?
You weren't even born yet when NWO was running wild, brother. Let me tell you something, Jack.
I was too.
So NWO, it is a lifestyle. It's a way of life. When you're NWO, you're NWO for life. Yeah, so the stuff is Buff Bagwell. I mean, Buff Bagwell is the stuff. I mean, go back and listen to the interview. He explains exactly what Buff Bagwell is and the buff lifestyle and movement. Do yourself a favor. Check out that interview, WellsMania podcast, WellsMania on YouTube. Hey. And it also is on my Twitter at WellsMania.
You know who else I think had some stuff was Sandman.
Oh my goodness! First of all, before we get to Peyton's Sandman story,
and Sabu, unfortunately,
we do want to send well wishes and a speedy recovery to Sabu.
Yeah,
Sabu had some sort of medical condition happen to him this past Saturday, and he was rushed to the local nearest Medical Facility, a.k.a. a hospital. That was a nod to this past Monday night on Raw. Anyways,
something was severe. I walked past
We're sending good vibes to hardcore ECW legend and class of 2024 Hall of Famer. I'm predicting it now. Sabu's going in with ECW next year for 2024's Hall of Fame. I'm calling it right now.
Hopefully he makes it there because I walked past him.
Sabu.
I walked past him the morning of the second day at the Expo, and he was he was like, his head was down, his tongue was hanging out. I thought, this guy is gone. He's sitting right here in the building.
Thank God he wasn't.
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows? Sandman might have slipped him something.
Yeah, I actually had...
Look, if anybody that was there had an interaction with Sandman, I am sorry. I am sorry you had to go through that because the dude is nuts.
He
legitimately insane.
He was talking to himself.
He was twitching and stuff, and it was...
I was in the bathroom, okay? I was washing my hands, and all of a sudden, Shane Douglas and Sandman walk in. However, Shane Douglas came in at least 10, 15 seconds before Sandman. Sandman was talking, and I thought he was talking to somebody behind him.
Wow.
He was not. And like I said, Shane Douglas was already in the bathroom for about 10 to 15 seconds. I'm washing my hands, and all of a sudden, Sandman comes in the bathroom, and he's just talking to himself. I thought that was a little odd, but then again, when you're the Sandman and you crush your head with beer cans for the past 3 decades, you might have knocked a few screws loose. So we're sending all the
I don't think he had any screws left.
Well wishes and good vibes to not only Sabu, but to Sandman as well. And speaking of ECW hardcore legends, I finally had the opportunity to meet one of my inspirations, and I'll tell that story here in just a second. I had a chance to meet Rob Van Dam. WWE Hall of Famer Rob Van Dam was sitting there signing autographs, and for a lot of people out there who don't know, I actually fell on some hard times.
Look, if you're gonna start crying,
no, you got to go away for this one.
Oh,
this is legit. This is real. So it was last year around WrestleMania time. I went into some mental health issues, and listen, I'm an advocate for mental health. Mental health is very important, and you're never alone. If you have any mental health issues, and if you're experiencing it, WellsMania Podcast is always here for you. Tweet at me, at WellsMania. I've got nothing but positive vibes and good vibes for anyone who ever needs them. Unlimited energy from the WellsMania Podcast. However, I am human, and I experienced my own mental health issues. I experience it quite a bit. It kind of comes and goes. It's a roller coaster. However, last year, it was right before the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony. I was not in a very good place, and I wanted to, let's just say, I just fell into a very dark place, and I wanted to quit wrestling. I wanted to quit doing the WellsMania podcast. I wanted to quit a lot of things, okay? Well, it was a Hall of Fame speech by Rob Van Dam that really literally spoke to me. And if you've never heard Rob Van Dam's Hall of Fame speech, I highly recommend that you do. And I'll tweet it out at WellsMania for all of you to go back and listen to Rob Van Dam's speech. Well, in that speech, he pretty much said that throughout his whole entire wrestling career, people have always tried to change him. They've always tried to mold him into being something that he was not. They wanted him to be not himself. Well, Rob Van Dam never allowed anybody to change who Rob Van Dam is. And that was exactly what I needed to hear during those hard times that I was facing. So when I saw that Rob Van Dam was going to be at Squared Circle Expo 3, I thought, man, this is a really cool opportunity for me to go up to him, thank him, shake his hand, and just tell him, hey, man, your Hall of Fame speech it inspired me. It saved me. And once I told him the story that I just shared with all of you, he was signing his autograph for me, but he looked up and he stopped and he made eye contact with me, and he legit was listening to what I was saying. He wasn't just hearing what I was saying, he was actually listening to what I was saying. And then he said, not too many people would open up like that to me. Thank you for sharing that story with me. And I'm really glad that I was able to inspire you and help you during that time. And, if you ever need it, I've got my RVD channel on YouTube. And he gave me a sticker. And he said, as a matter of fact, I posted a new video right before I came to this signing. And anytime you ever need inspiration, hit me up on Twitter and hit me up on Facebook or watch my videos on YouTube. And I said, thank you. You have no idea how much that means to me. And he retweeted our picture that we took together with this, the rock on emoji. So I thought that was really cool. And I appreciate you all for listening to the story. I'm not afraid to get deep with you and deep with WellsMania. I mean, it could be its own segment here on the show. That's why I pushed Peyton. Peyton's a little, he's got a black heart. He's pretty cold. So, he doesn't like to show that vulnerable side. He likes to, mask it. However, I'm an open book and I'm a real dude and I have real feelings and I like to help out. And maybe I can inspire or motivate you. If you're ever down on hard times, maybe WellsMania podcast can lift you up and we just run wild with each other. So thank you for listening to my story, and thank you again to Rob Van Dam for the meet and greet, autograph, and hearing me out. That was a huge, huge, huge thing for me in my life. You're welcome, Chris. I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I'm not afraid to help out those. So, thank you for caring. D. Stoney, Warren says, I was laughing Saturday when you said I'm not John Silver. I know. Peyton wants to bust my balls and rib me, but literally people were coming up to me thinking that I was John Silver. Now,
nobody was coming up to
Now, do I look like John Silver?
No.
Yeah, I'm not John Silver. First of all, I'm taller, I'm buffer, I'm bigger, and I'm better than John Silver. And if John Silver thinks otherwise, I've got a ring right behind me. I know it's not your AEW ring, but this is the next best thing. WWT ring, WellsMania podcast versus John Silver. How about that? So tweet at John Silver. Let's get John Silver familiar with who WellsMania podcast is. And you know what, Peyton? Maybe one day when John Silver and I do meet, we can do the Spider-Man gif, the two Spider-Mans pointing at each other. Maybe John Silver and I can do that. So, Dion Freeman, give John Silver 2 to 6 minutes of your time. Honestly, that's all you ever need in professional wrestling. People's attention spans are so short. The shorter the matches, the better. That's what I always say. Everybody wants to do these 60-minute Iron Man matches, which is cool. If you could pull it off, great. I cannot. I cannot go 60 minutes in there. I'll be lucky if I can go 2 to 6 minutes in the ring. And quite frankly, any time that I'm in the ring, it's the most entertaining time in pro wrestling. My track record speaks for itself. Now, D. Stone says, I met Christian and he didn't seem too talkative. No, the vibe is that Christian was not in a good mood. Because he's a dick. Now, here's the thing. Pro wrestlers, some of them, do live the kayfabe lifestyle where they don't break kayfabe. And if you don't know what kayfabe means, that means when a wrestler stays in the character that you see them as when they're on TV. Perfect example, MJF. What you see on TV is what you get in real life. MJF was literally barely signing people's autographs with a Sharpie on their action figures and then tossing the action figures across the room. Squared Circle Expo 3, you paid close to $100 to meet MJF. You got a miserable picture with him, and you got an autograph that barely even shows up.
Can you scooch an inch? I feel like I'm
when you're so damn swole, Peyton, you take up the whole screen. I mean,
no, it's just
look at this.
You're just hogging.
Buff, baby,
canvas.
buff. buff. But for real though, Christian apparently was not in a good mood. I planned on meeting him.
I've met him before. I met him back in New Orleans at WrestleMania 30 on Bourbon Street. He's just not really a nice guy.
Indie MMA says, let's see you run the ropes for 2 minutes, LOL. Listen, if I get in there and run the ropes for 2 minutes,
I'll have to call an ambulance.
It's going to be so loud.
He'll be next to Sabu.
There's banners in there. Hey, if you want to see me run the ropes for 2 minutes, check out Wrestle With This on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. How about that for a cheap plug? What else do we have? Dion Freeman says, nah, that's BS. You chose to be there. You took the booking. Enjoy and interact with your fans.
I agree.
You know what? Most of the wrestlers that were there were very chatty, interactive, appreciative, talkative, personable. There were a few that weren't. And the ones that weren't apparently were Stone Paint, MJF, and Christian. Those were the three people that
not me
really didn't want to be.
Stone Pain.
I'm sorry. Peyton Payne was Stone Pain.
Now Stone is my middle name, but the Stone Pain, the rest was a different guy entirely.
Right. You got to change your Twitter handle. It throws me off. Stone Pain Prod.
Stone Pain. It's me. I'm PAY.
Ryan Gant. Wait, hold on a second. Ryan Gant is here.
Wow.
Look, Ryan Gant. I got WellsMania podcast merch. KC Custom Apparel here in Greenwood, Indiana, put my logo on this hoodie that I always wear. I'm never washing this ever again.
I still don't have a co-host t-shirt.
And Jared Giles, the WWE Human Encyclopedia, still wants his WellsMania podcast t-shirt. Ryan Gant, get that WellsMania shop up and running. People want to buy merch. For real, though, people kept coming up to my table asking, where can they buy merch, t-shirts, stickers, you name it. They want it. It's crazy. People really want to represent, support, and pay for WellsMania merch. Let's go, Ryan Gant. Let's get the WellsMania shop up and running once again. And rumor is that Ryan Gant has a home podcast studio where he has invited you and I to return to the audio format and do future episodes of WellsMania podcast. So once we're done kind of doing the whole live, we're going to get back to audio recordings of WellsMania podcast. Don't you worry. I know you miss it. I miss it too. But here we are pumping out this content for all of you running wild. 5.2 thousand likes on episode 89 of WellsMania podcast. Y'all are great. I love you all. Thank you so much for running wild. Let's see. Devin is in the WellsMania podcast chat. He says Kevin Nash wasn't too bad. John Moxley was funny.
I didn't go up to Mox.
I didn't go up to Mox, but Taylor Jackson and Rachel Jackson, they said that John Moxley was cool. Renee Paquette was cool. And they're Cincinnati royalty. Speaking of Cincinnati royalty, Brian Pillman Jr. and Ari Alexander, one of the hottest wrestling couples in all of pro wrestling. They were there, got to talk with them. They got busy. I was going to have them on the WellsMania podcast doing a little interview, but they got busy. I understand. I did reach out to quite a few people, and I get it. You're at a convention. You've got lots of fans to meet, interact with. So those people who did take the time to stop by and do an interview with me, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, it means a lot. Thank you so much.
And those that didn't, we didn't want it anyway.
Yeah, Devin, Squared Circle Expo 4, you have got to go. Seriously, this is the Midwest Premier Wrestling Convention. It's the best wrestling convention in the Midwest. Squared Circle Expo. Tell them WellsMania sent you. Hit up Ed. Hit up Heather. Hit up Troy. The amazing staff at Squared Circle Expo. Y'all went above and beyond. This was the best one yet. Cannot wait for Squared Circle Expo 4. Yes, Peyton.
Dion says that Pillman Jr. no-sold him and owes him $60.
No, let this be a lesson, Dion. When you're trying to schmooze with wrestlers and you buy them shots, they don't owe you a damn thing, my friend. Let that be a lesson learned. If you spend $60 in shots, Brian Pillman doesn't care.
To be fair.
He doesn't care. He's going to take your shots. He's going to give you his time, and then he's going to shoot on out of it.
To be fair, the shots were a little pricey. It was like 4 shots, and it was $60. It was
shots aren't cheap.
They weren't even good.
Shots are not
They
cheap.
were very bad.
Let's see. Chris Haggerty has a question for you, Peyton. Do
Yes.
you know Poppy Roach is a fan of the movie Titanic?
I heard he was the reason it sank.
Some would say that Big Poppy is built like an iceberg. He was running wild there at the WellsMania podcast and Wrestle With This table, along with WWE Human Encyclopedia Jared Giles. Shout out to my boys. I grew up with both of them. And I still want to see you versus Big Poppy inside that ring. Y'all did not want to cut a promo with each other. That's how heated this feud is on Twitter. I tried to get them both on camera, and they both respect.
If you're gonna make me talk about this, it's heated to him.
Hey,
okay?
You look into that camera and you talk right to Roach. I'm gonna scroll here and see who else is in here.
It's heated to him. Look. You never punch down, all right? The only people that throw punches are the ones that are punching up, that are trying to get a little bit of the spotlight, and that's what Roach is. He is a literal cockroach. I mean, he's a very large cockroach, but he's a cockroach nonetheless. And, he was trying to get me to debate him and all this crap at the Expo, just like he does on Twitter all the time when he makes his comments that just make zero sense, that are the worst wrestling takes on the planet. He's not worth my time.
Chris Haggerty says that it is the best feud of 2023. And listen, I couldn't agree more. I would love to have you and Roach inside the squared circle here inside the Smash Mouth Arena. Settle your guys' issues and beef once and for all right here in the ring. So maybe we can get that match set up. But going back to the interviews, okay? I interviewed a Macho Man Randy Savage cosplayer. Dig it.
I heard that was the real Savage.
He was awesome. I kind of fanboyed a little bit. We talked about WrestleMania 3. We talked about WrestleMania 8. That was really cool. I interviewed Sean Ross Sapp, SRS. Sean Ross Sapp was in the building from Fightful and Fightful Select. Sean Ross Sapp, which I didn't realize has so much heat on Twitter. People hate that guy.
Yeah, he's not very likable.
However, I enjoyed his presence and enjoyed his company. Even though he said he was going to follow me on Twitter, he hasn't done that yet. Will he follow me on Twitter? We'll see. Tweet at Sean Ross Sapp and tell him to follow WellsMania.
Someone's talking about me on the chat. I can see my name. What's it say?
Chris Haggerty says Peyton and Roach should have a friendly debate.
There would be nothing friendly about it.
Sean Ross Sapp is not a good dude, and Chris Haggerty is not a fan of him. Back when he was with Wrestling Inc., he was a real ass. Wow. Strong take there from Chris Haggerty. Yes, Ryan, Buff and stuff. Oh, I told Buff Bagwell about your brother's AOL screen name, how it was Buff and Stuff 05. He absolutely loved it. And in that interview, he says that he loves your brother, and he loves all of us, and he loves me. Buff Bagwell was so genuine, so down to earth. I'm just very appreciative that he took the time to run wild with WellsMania.
Well, it's not like he had much going on.
Who else we got here? Amber Cena is in the building. Amber Cena, who might just be as big of a John Cena fan as yours truly. Now,
that's not possible.
For those who don't know, I once drank a PBR with John Cena. How many people can say that they once drank a PBR with John Cena? Not many. I am the only one that I know of that's drank a PBR with John Cena. Here we go.
Hey, you should tell that story about the time you drank a PBR with John Cena.
Thank you, Amber Cena. Hey, check out Amber Cena's TikTok. Her TikTok has all sorts of cool John Cena merch. Your collection, Amber, is incredible. And Amber, I got a question for you. What is your personal not the greatest John Cena match of all time. What is your personal favorite John Cena match of all time? I'll tell you what mine is, and I was there live to see it. WrestleMania 28, even though John Cena lost once in a lifetime versus The Rock, I was there. Peyton was there. It was one of the most electrifying experiences that I've ever personally experienced at a wrestling show. That is my personal favorite John Cena match of all time.
Look, I've been trying to get him to have I Drink PBR with John Cena t-shirts forever, but he won't make it happen.
Ryan Gant, that's all on you. People want a I Once Drank a PBR shirt with John Cena. They want a WellsMania podcast, I Once Drank a PBR with John Cena t-shirt. Ryan Gant, you're in charge of the WellsMania merch. Print it up.
Hey.
Print it up. Let's go.
And then if that sells, maybe you can
You're welcome, Amber Cena. You're very welcome.
And then if that sells, maybe you can make another t-shirt about the thing with the Usos.
Oh, no, we're not even talking about that. But hey, check this out. This is a really cool question.
Now they're all going to be wondering what I'm talking about.
Chris Haggerty, what wrestlers would you guys like to see at Squared Circle Expo 4? That's a really, really good question.
I got my two.
Yeah, go ahead, say your two. I'm going to see some more comments here, and I'll come up with somebody.
I'm going by plausibility. Who's actually plausible to get? So, and the two that I got, two guys that I've wanted to meet. One, the Big Show, Paul White.
Well, it's a big show.
I would love to meet Paul White and just stand next to him and just see how giant he really is. And number two, I would love to meet the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. I feel like those two guys are very popular.
Whoa, names. Yeah, somebody gonna get their ass kicked.
Yeah, so those are my two.
We've mentioned this, John Silver. I would love to finally have the opportunity to meet my doppelganger, John Silver. So I'd like to see John Silver. Now, Amber Cena has answered my questions. She said that I would definitely say John Cena versus Edge versus Big Show for the heavyweight championship at Mania. Yeah, that was a fantastic match. Listen, John Cena always delivers at WrestleMania. Yes, he delivered at WrestleMania 39. He put over Austin Theory. He did the job, even though I wanted him to win.
Teddy Long doesn't think so.
John Cena did what he was supposed to do. And Ryan Gant, he's not a terrible actor. Have you seen Peacemaker? John Cena is the greatest superhero. Well, villain, anti-hero. Whatever you want to call Peacemaker, John Cena as Peacemaker, it trumps everything else out there.
All right, stop.
Going on. Listen, I love you, John Cena. You're my boy. We once drank a PBR with each other. I always have your back. I've been down since day one, and I'll be down for life. Hey, another cool interaction at Squared Circle Expo. I went up to my man, Tatanka. Tatanka, very cool, very appreciative. And once again, I told him straight to his face, you should have won the Intercontinental title back at WrestleMania 9 at Caesar's Palace. And then
what is your obsession with Tatanka?
Peyton, you were right there. Tatanka said, yeah, I would have won the title, but Shawn Michaels. We all know that Shawn Michaels was very hard to work with back in the 90s. Montreal screw job with Bret. The Las Vegas Caesars Palace WrestleMania 9 screw job with Tatanka. I mean, Shawn Michaels, you should have dropped the title to the Native American Tatanka. And I'll tell you what, I love Tatanka. I love his energy. I love his presence. I love his entrance music. I love his look. I love his style. I love everything about Tatanka. When I was a little boy watching Tatanka go on that undefeated streak, I never wanted to see it end. And like I said, I wanted to see him win the IC title at WrestleMania 9, and I will die on that hill. Tatanka should have won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 9. So shout out to Tatanka. He told me that he'll always like my stuff on Facebook and Twitter. So that's pretty cool. I love
Amber says, I was at Mania when Cena lost to Theory, and it made her cry. I was actually at Mania, too, and I jumped out of my seat cheering when it happened.
Hold on a second. Turn around. Yeah, I was there. Now, I know this is all backwards.
I was. He wasn't.
Yeah. No, I was not at WrestleMania 39, but my goal is to be in Philadelphia next year, the city of brotherly love, for WrestleMania 39 or 40. I'm sorry, WrestleMania XL. I'm still on 39 wavelengths here. Let's see what else we got here. Love y'all shirts.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. WellsMania podcast. You can get your merch, brainbustertees.com. And Ryan Gant, yes, I'm looking at you. You type out the link. Where can people get WellsMania merch from your shop? That is ktpmania.com.
I pride myself on my shirt collection.
Took me a while to remember the website. It's been so long. But yes, thank you all so much for taking the time out of your Wednesday night to run wild with us. We have 6.5 thousand likes on this episode.
All because of me.
So if you didn't get a chance to run wild with us live on TikTok, I will upload this episode to YouTube.
Unless he deletes it.
At WellsMania. Amber Cena, I got me the finish, the story, new Cody shirt, and the new Cena shirt at WrestleMania. You guys are amazing. No, Amber Cena, you are amazing.
I am amazing, aren't I?
You can't see me.
I have to agree with her. I am amazing.
I love the G.I. Joe inspired John Cena t-shirt. I love all the John Cena t-shirts.
What's the one that's $1,000? You almost went broke.
Oh my God. So
that you wanted?
Last year, when John Cena came back to fight Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, I'm sorry, that wasn't last year. That was the year before.
It was the NFT shirt.
It was the NFT $1,000 John Cena t-shirt. Listen, I'm not dropping $1,000 on a t-shirt, okay? It's probably the only John Cena t-shirt that will never be in my collection. Unless that Jay Kane guy on Twitter finally gives me all the money that he claims that he's going to just give random people. Come on, Jay Kane. I'm giving you a shout out right here on episode 89 of WellsMania podcast. Send your boy WellsMania $1,000 so I can buy that John Cena NFT t-shirt. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Squared Circle Expo 3. I'm telling you, it was a really awesome time. I'm very appreciative to everybody who stopped by the WellsMania table and did some interviews with me. If you missed out on those, like I said, at WellsMania on Twitter, I posted them all up there. That Wrestling Couple, shout out once again to Jacob and Shelby. That Wrestling Couple right here on TikTok. Do yourself a favor and hit that follow.
The only
button.
one that you didn't get was Ravishing Anton. I got him.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, brother. Ravishing Anton no-sold me. He doesn't like me.
I can't blame him.
It is what it is. I walked away to go get something to eat.
Look,
and then I come back and you did an interview with Ravishing Anton. So I'm just glad that somebody was able to talk to him.
You're just upset because the WWT World Champion personally requested me for his interview.
And it's all good because, listen, y'all heels, you got to stick together. I wasn't anticipating Ravishing Anton to talk to me. It is what it is. No hard feelings. And I hope you have a great match with Jackson Steele at Showcase 50 in the ladder match.
Amber says, I got that shirt. The $1,000 one?
Whoa.
You bought the $1,000 John Cena shirt?
She says that she has a video of it on her TikTok. So, Amber Cena, I am going to find that TikTok.
She might be more loyal to Cena than you.
And share it. So
that's shocking.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for a t-shirt, but I'm glad somebody has it. Somebody owns it. Ravishing Anton and SRS should get
I don't know who SRS is.
Because they are a match made in heaven. That's Sean Ross Sapp and Ravishing Anton. And might as well throw in the world's greatest
Look,
co-host.
I'm gonna nip this in the bud. You keep calling me a heel But I'm not a heel. I'm just a speaker of the truth. And some people may not like to hear the truth.
I'm a speaker of the truth too. It just depends on what you think is the truth. You can't handle the truth. Jack Nicholson.
You couldn't.
Few good men.
That's why you deleted the video last week.
You know what? It's getting old. It's not true. Anybody who knows YouTube Live, the videos, they just vanish. If you didn't catch it live, it just disappears.
However, officiate the wedding.
Right here, this episode, episode 89 of WellsMania Podcast, TikTok Live, this will be re-uploaded to YouTube.
I'm not a wedding guy, so I'll pass on the officiating.
Yeah, Amber, I'm a diehard John Cena fan as well. I've been down since day one, and I will always and forever be a fan of John Cena. I love John Cena, and it's been a while since I've seen him. The last time I saw him was 2016, so hopefully next year at WrestleMania 40, I'll be there, John Cena will be there, and we'll cross paths and get an updated profile.
Akeem will be there.
Maybe.
Yeah, he'll be there. I'll make sure Akeem's there.
He might be there. You never know.
Yeah.
I don't think the one-man gang is in the Hall of Fame. I don't believe he's in the WWE Hall of Fame, so you never know.
Indy says Die Hard would spend $1,000. Maybe you're a fake fan.
No, I don't have $1,000 to drop on a
He might be
t-shirt.
fake. You might be onto something.
No. If you think I'm a fake John Cena fan, you've never met me or listened to me ever.
In fact, his whole story about the PBR might be fake.
Nobody can question anything that I've ever done because it's all factual. It's all true. I did once drink a PBR with John Cena.
They're calling you out
There's
now.
a picture. There's a picture on my Twitter, @WellsMania. Go to @WellsMania, and there's a picture of John Cena and I the night that him and I drank a PBR. Hey, proof's in the pudding. You can come at me all you want. WellsMania Podcast. I got these big, broad shoulders. I'll take it, baby. Let's go. If I need to hit somebody with an attitude adjustment, I'll lift you on my shoulders and I'll fly you right over. You can't see me. Let's go, baby. Who wants some? If you want some, come get some.
All right, take a chill pill.
Yeah, WellsMania Podcast. You come at me, I come right back at you. And always remember, WellsMania Podcast hits harder and stronger.
Except when it comes to speaking the truth.
Let's
only
go.
I do.
I just spoke the truth. Nothing can phase WellsMania Podcast. You can't phase me. So keep it coming. Keep your cheap shots coming because I'm going to knock them right out the park. Barry Bonds style. See you later. Word life. This is basic thugonomics.
You have a John Cena poster in your bedroom wall. We understand.
I got John Cena posters everywhere. So... yeah, look at that. Amber Cena with the fire emojis because your boy WellsMania Podcast, we on fire!
I heard a rumor that you have a...
word life.
I heard a rumor you have a John Cena poster in your bathroom when you're sitting on the toilet.
I got John Cena posters everywhere. I got John Cena autographs. I got John Cena action figures. You name it, I got it. John, except for the $1,000 t-shirt, which it's coming soon. Hey, here we go. Let's start a fund. Get WellsMania Podcast the $1,000 John Cena t-shirt. You can donate at WellsMania on the Cash App. That's right. WellsMania has a Cash App.
Do not send him money.
Send it, and I'll wear it on the next episode or whenever.
You're expecting these people to give you $1,000 in a week?
Let's go, baby. Here we go. Here's a rivalry that's been a tale as old as time. Chris Haggerty says, WellsMania, calm down, or I'll have the lizard come after you. If y'all don't know, Chris Haggerty's wife is the lizard, and for whatever reason, she has always had beef with your boy WellsMania. So you think your beef with Roach is the feud of the year?
Look, that's nothing. I got beef with a lot of people.
WellsMania's feud with the lizard has been going on for quite some time now. So, you know, bring it on, Lizzie. Bring it on, lizard. WellsMania versus the lizard. In a verbal feud, of course. Not a physical feud, because, you know, WellsMania Podcast is very respectful to the ladies out there. So, yeah, Squared Circle Expo 3. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. Thank you again to everybody who stopped by the WellsMania Podcast table And all of my numbers went up, Peyton.
Yeah, so did mine.
All of my numbers on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, all of my numbers shot up, and it's all because of you. Thank you all so much for hitting the follow button or the like button or the subscribe button.
Here's a good question.
I appreciate you all.
Who is on both of our Mount Rushmores of pro wrestling?
As in our personal favorites?
Yeah, like our personal Mount Rushmores.
I'll let you go first.
All right, well, I got to have The Undertaker on there. I mean, The Undertaker is, in my opinion, probably the greatest of all time. So I'm going to go Taker. I'm going to go Stone Cold Steve Austin, because how do you not have Austin on the Mount Rushmore?
Austin 316. Oh, hell yeah.
I'm going to do Hulk Hogan.
Brother.
Just because, I mean, there wouldn't be a WWE
Hulkamania running wild, dude.
without Hulk Hogan. And then just because of the cultural impact, I probably got to go The Rock. So I'm going to go Austin, Taker, Hogan, Rock is my Mount Rushmore.
This is a really great question, Ryan. I love these kind of questions. Feel free to keep throwing the questions out there. I think we're probably going to go for maybe another 15 minutes or so.
We can at least make it to 8.5K likes.
Yeah, we'll keep talking. We'll stop talking when we get to 8.5. We'll wrap up the episode if we hit 10K. I mean, who's stopping us? To answer your question, Ryan, my personal Mount Rushmore, I've got John Cena, and John Cena.
Answer the man's question. This is why I'm considering having my own show. Answer the man's question.
You know what? This is a really cool idea, and I will answer the question. If you spun off and started your own podcast, we could have a head-to-head podcast wars. Your podcast versus my podcast. That's definitely an idea. That would be a lot of fun. I'd like to see, because listen, before Peyton came on, my podcast was still damn good because of you boys.
It's just better now.
I enhanced it with Peyton because I needed somebody to banter off of with, and well.
Do you have an extra 3 people?
Oh, sorry. Well, first of all, shout out to Amber Cena. She says that my impersonations are on point. Yes, I know they are. I've got a Howard Finkel one that is top notch. My Hulk Hogan's pretty solid. As you can tell, my John Cena is, if you close your eyes, you think John Cena is on the screen. So here's my Mount Rushmore of my personal favorite WWE superstars. John Cena's on there. Hulk Hogan's on there. The Rock is on there. And the last one might surprise you, Sting. Sting is on there. Now, I know he was only in WWE for a couple of years, but WCW is now owned by WWE. I now own WCW. That's my Vince McMahon, kind of growly. I'll get that one a little bit better. Usually my Vince is pretty spot on, but I've been talking a lot on this episode, so my voice is starting to get a little shot. Anyways, that is my personal Mount Rushmore. Tweet at WellsMania. Who is on your personal Mount Rushmore of WWE superstars or wrestlers in general? I'd love to hear all the Wells Maniacs' response to that question.
Give us some more questions. We got to get to 8.5K. Give us a couple more questions.
You know what, Ryan? I tweeted this out. Peyton is the Bobby Heenan to my Gorilla Monsoon. I am the Gorilla Monsoon to Peyton's Bobby Heenan. I think that's why him and I work so well.
I would also take Jesse the Body Ventura.
It's a good one, too.
Yes.
Jesse the Body. I'm telling you, you play a great heel and I play a great face. It just works out. You can't have professional wrestling without a great heel and a great face. It just doesn't work. You got to have one and the other. What else we got here? Amber Cena, John Cena, Stone Cold, Undertaker, Ultimate Warrior, and Roddy Piper. That's a great Mount Rushmore right there.
Piper's underrated.
And I will say this. Roddy Piper is arguably one of, if not the greatest heel of all time. I mean, he had it all. He had heat. He had promo skills. He could get in there and work. The dude was and forever will be a legend. And unfortunately, I passed on an opportunity to meet Roddy Piper when he was here in Indianapolis at Days of the Dead 2015. I had just got done working 24 hours at my old job. I went home and slept. I did not wake up until after Roddy Piper had already left Days of the Dead. And then unfortunately, a few months later, Roddy Piper passed away. So let this be a lesson to all of you. Do not hesitate. If you have an opportunity to go meet a WWE legend, Hall of Famer, professional wrestler in general, go. Do not look back and regret anything. Fear less. And that's pretty much what I have to say about that. Regret nothing and fear less. John Cena reference right there for those. That's a deep cut. Amber Cena got
someone by the name of Unknown says that Bam Bam was always their favorite.
You know what? Bam Bam Bigelow, arguably one of the greatest big men to ever step foot in a WWE or professional wrestling ring. Long overdue for the Hall of Fame. So hopefully next year, the Beast from the East, while we're up east in Philadelphia, although he's no longer here.
He did have some time in ECW.
He'll get the posthumous, is that how you say it? Posthumous?
You're close enough.
Hall of Fame induction. Hopefully Bam Bam Bigelow gets the call next year for the Hall of Fame class of 2024. I said this earlier on episode 89 of WellsMania podcast. I personally think that ECW will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame next year. I mean, it makes too much sense. WrestleMania is in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is the home of ECW. Induct ECW. Have Paul Heyman. Have RVD. Have Tommy Dreamer. Have all the ECW legends.
Everybody but Sandman.
Put them all in there. And RIP to the ones who couldn't be there. I'll tell you what. We've gotten some.
Hey, is
some
Balls
heat.
Mahoney still alive?
No, he sadly has passed. And New Jack is who I was referring to. We got heat the last time we talked about ECW because we didn't mention New Jack. And
was I here?
I don't think you were.
I think you might have been doing an episode with Chris Engel.
I think that was either Rathbone, Jeremiah Jackson, or Chris Engel. I can't remember. I think it might have been.
I think it was Chris.
I think it was Chris.
When Jeremiah was on, it was a WCW-centric episode.
Yeah. And if you want to go back and listen to all of the WellsMania podcast episodes, check out the Vault, the Archive, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, WellsMania Podcast. Subscribe, and thank you for your support.
The guy in the hat looks like the Genius.
Lanny Poffo? You look like Macho Man's brother, who just passed away.
I don't know. I mean, I definitely don't got the hair for it. You know what? I'm just going to take the comment and assume that you meant I look like a genius and the genius of this duo, which in that case, you're 100% correct.
Two bald dudes who love pro wrestling. That could be a spin-off show in its own. Eric, E-Rock Boger. Shout out to my dude, E-Rock. I don't know if I could pick four for my Mount Rushmore. Too many greats. You're not wrong. I mean, it's a personal opinion. There are no wrong answers. Literally anybody could be on your Mount Rushmore. It is your Mount Rushmore. It's your personal Mount Rushmore. A couple others that I would throw on there. The excellence of execution. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret Hitman Hart. Bret Hitman Hart was a huge part of my childhood, and
he's kind of whiny now.
He's an honorable mention on my Mount Rushmore. I love the Hitman. And Tatanka, of course, I love my man Tatanka. And one of these days, I think the Native American Tatanka will step foot in this ring right behind us here at the Smash Mouth Arena. Stay tuned for that. We did slip him the WWT business card, so anything is possible in professional wrestling. F the Man 77 says, I met both of them. Really cool, genuine guys. You met both of us? and we're really cool, genuine guys. Well, thank you, F the Man 77, if that is your real name. Thank you for taking the time to stop by the WellsMania podcast table and the Wrestle With This table at Squared Circle Expo 3.
I assume she's talking to me because I'm the only one wearing a hat. Did you attend WrestleCon Mania weekend? I did not. First of all, my name is Peyton. So
at Stone Pain PROD on Twitter. Hit that follow button.
First name Peyton, middle name Stone.
Amber Cena, do you have a Twitter? What is your Twitter handle? And we'll give you a shout out.
I did not attend WrestleCon. I was so busy doing other things. I would have loved to have gone, but no, I did not make it there WrestleMania weekend.
Ryan Gantz got a pretty cool question. Top 3 all-time feuds. Well, Austin and McMahon is definitely up there.
This is personal, like what we think?
I'm just throwing some feuds out there. If we're going personal, my feuds involve John Cena, obviously.
Okay.
I love John Cena's feud with Edge. I love John Cena's feud with CM Punk. I love John Cena's feud with The Rock. So I guess you could say those were 3 of my favorite feuds.
Let's say this. Let's throw the bias aside. Logically, what do you think are the 3 greatest feuds in let's say just WWE history?
Wow. 3 greatest
I know mine.
feuds.
I know mine.
Austin McMahon definitely.
I think you got to have Austin McMahon in there. I'm going to say just based on solely the storytelling of it and its longevity.
Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. It's another great feud.
Yeah, well, I guess. The Undertaker and Kane. I mean, it spanned for almost 25 years.
I'm surprised Kane wasn't on your Mount Rushmore. As much as you love Kane, I'm surprised.
I'm going off of also though like the impact that people had on the wrestling.
It's the impact they had on you.
Well, you know
it's
what?
your personal Mount Rushmore.
I gave you mine. Austin, Taker, Hogan, and The Rock.
I think Kane got snubbed. As much as you love, you're the biggest Kane fan I know, and he's not even on your Mount Rushmore. Come on!
If you're gonna go that route, you could throw him on there.
Here we go. If
I'll
you
throw
wanna
Andre
follow,
Hogan.
Andre Hogan's another great one.
rivalry.
Amber Cena on Twitter at Hernandez96. WellsMania will be following you at Hernandez96. Arguably one of the biggest John Cena fans, along with your boy at WellsMania. Us Cena fans, we got to stick together. Word life.
It is Peyton, yes, Payton. Rusty Beanhole, great name by the way, says, now this might take the cake. This might be the greatest feud in wrestling history. Stone Pain and Mega Mondo.
It's a really good one.
That is a fantastic feud. And personally, I don't think that feud's over. I don't think we've seen them in the ring for the last time.
They had 2 epic matches at the biggest wrestling event in Wrestle With This history. That is,
personally, Smash Mouth Slamboree.
Thank you.
I see down the road somewhere. I see them pulling a Rock Austin and going 3 for 3. Your banner just fell, by the way. 3 for 3.
Come on!
Stone Pain and Mega Mondo Smash Mouth Slamboree. I would love to see it. I know all the WWT fans would love to see it. Did you fix the banner?
Banner is fixed. We are currently at 7:30. We have hit 10.1K likes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for running wild with the world's greatest co-host, Peyton Payne, and the most underrated wrestling podcast host in the world, WellsMania. WellsMania all over everywhere. Hit that follow button and run wild with us. Next week, episode 90 of WellsMania podcast, Peyton and I are going to dive into Wrestle With This Showcase 50, which airs on YouTube. Wrestle With This, April 23rd. We will hype it up. We will predict and preview.
It's a big card.
Who we think's going to win, who we think's going to lose. Showcase 50, April 23rd. Wrestle With This on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. And next week, we're also, since we're coming up on WWE draft season, Peyton's going to represent SmackDown, and I'm going to represent Monday Night Raw. I've got the first pick in the draft.
Who said that?
I just did. Tune in, episode
no. Hold on. I think we should let them pick who gets the first pick.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put up a poll at WellsMania on Twitter. Who should get the first pick in the WellsMania podcast mock WWE draft? Should it be the world's greatest co-host, Peyton Payne, or should it be yours truly, WellsMania podcast?
Me, obviously.
At WellsMania on Twitter. I'll get that poll up right after this episode. Thank you all so much for running wild. Amber Cena, Chris Haggerty, That Wrestling Couple, Eric E. Rock Boger, Chris Engel, Dion Freeman, Devin, Ryan Gant, and everybody else who interacted in this live episode of WellsMania Podcast. Thank you so much. We have surpassed 10.6 thousand likes. Are you kidding me?
I told you TikTok was the right route.
It is the right route, and always the right route is running wild with WellsMania Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at WellsMania. Follow him on Twitter at StonePainProd. We'll see you next week, episode 90. We're coming right back here on TikTok Live. All right, how do I end this thing? We're still live. We're still live. You're getting a close-up of WellsMania right here.